Hug your family members. Have gratitude for the things that you have in your life because it could all end tomorrow. Hey everyone, it's me, Rob, again. I just want to give a million thank yous to all of the people who are watching the current video with Chevelle Wright. It's an amazing story, and you guys have come in hot with subscriptions. Through the main YouTube video, which is at 350 the last time I checked, and all the shorts and Instagram and TikTok, several thousand people have heard his story, and that's just amazing. So thank you. For fans of Chevelle, you'll be glad to know that next week I'm planning on meeting up with him again and recording prison stories, just straight up prison stories, and whatever else he wants to say. So I'm really excited to put more stuff out. This week, I don't have a new guest because I'm doing some traveling. So this week, I'm going to tell more of my personal stories, and this is one of my favorite topics about myself because I've been told this over and over again. And the topic is I am the luckiest man in the world, or as many have said, I am the luckiest motherfucker they've ever met. When I was a kid, I got out of every kind of scrape you can imagine, physical, legal, whatever. I crashed a million bicycles every which way. One traumatic crash was we were camping in Pinecrest, and I was flying down a hill and just ate it. And I swear I skinned half of my body. The best part was the 80s parents that I had didn't really give a shit. I was like, all right, stop whining. In another case, I missed what would have put my little ass in kid jail. Is I went and vandalized the construction place. They laid down a foundation, and I went in there and knocked off the little boards that hold up the form. And overnight, the entire foundation just shifted and like melted out of the area. And they had to sit there and break it all up and relay it, which must have cost thousands and thousands of dollars. And there's a million other examples when I was a kid of just I got out of everything. I either missed the trouble or people were lenient. So it I think I started feeling a little invincible, and so I just went into my adolescence the full head of steam. My teenage years and young adulthood were real knucklehead time. You know what? Even all of that, I never got into any trouble. So I'm gonna tell some stories from there, and I hope you enjoyed this idiocy. All right, so one favorite activity of mine as a young adult was drunk driving. I was famous for being the guy who ran into the party and drank all the beer, was asked to leave, and drove away, no matter how drunk I was. Unless you count the times where I passed out, in which case my friends would drive me home. One particular time that I look back at and laugh, which it's not really funny, is we had gone to the south side, Pittsburgh. We went to a party at a guy's house and we were drinking and smoking and having a good time. Well, then we drove away and I'm driving down the south side or Mount Washington. All right, Mount Washington, whatever. People in Pittsburgh, don't be particular with me. We're driving down the road, just cruising, we're listening to music, we're talking, and I look over and there's a cop and I can see he's motioning at me and waving his arms, and I can tell he's yelling. But I'm drunk, and the windows are up, and so I roll down the window after a while, and this dude's doing all this stuff, and he goes, "Hey, asshole, turn on your headlights." So I turned on the headlights, and off we went. Another good time where I didn't get in any trouble when I should have is another drunk driving story where we were on an old abandoned airfield and we went to explore it because we thought there was black helicopters and some weird government conspiracy stuff going on up there. I don't know if there was or wasn't. I don't think so. But anyway, as soon as we came off, the cop pulled us over. We had literal active open beers. The cop gets us out and it makes us empty our pockets, makes us pour out all of our beers, and he gives us a lecture. the guy takes all of our stuff. We had knives, we had paraphernalia, we had all kinds of things. Stuff that applies to the skinhead days. We had everything under the sun. And the cop just scoops it up and says, "Go home." And I'm left driving away, drunk as hell, and aggrieved that the cop robbed us. And if it wasn't for the advice of my friend Jason's dad, I would have called them up the next day and demanded our stuff back. But he told me that since he let us off without even a written warning, should probably leave it be. So I did. Here's another one. Some of you might think this is just stupid stories, but here you go. I was getting rid of this Grand Marquis that I had bought for $100 or a couple $100. Anyway, it was super cheap. I drove it for a while. I got another car, and I was gonna get rid of it, but I just put gas in it. So I decided to put a hole, poke a hole in the gas tank and put a bucket under it. Well, it was just dripping when I left. But unbeknownst to me, the neighbor called the cops as soon as I left and said, "Hey, this kid's spilling gas," or whatever the hell he told them. And the cops came and towed the car away. Well, when they towed the car away, it knocked the bucket over and spilled gas down the street. And apparently, they called the hazmat crew and several fire departments. And there might have been a helicopter or SWAT team. I don't know if they were the guys that were looking for Osama bin Laden might have showed up. They acted like it was the biggest deal ever. Well, the cops told my mom they're gonna arrest me. She called me at my friend's house and said, "Hey, the cops are looking to arrest you." And I said, "Well, bullshit on that noise. I'm not gonna go over there if they're gonna arrest me." So she called them back and said, "If you promise not to arrest him, he'll come back." And so I said, "Okay," and I went over there, and the cop, of course, he lectured me, and at that time I was like, "Bullshit! Either give me a ticket or arrest me or whatever, but don't give me a moral lesson. I don't need your shit." And so he gave me a huge ticket. I want to say it was $1,400, and in late '90s money, that's a hell of a lot of money, especially in Pennsylvania. I think I made $6 an hour working at my full time job. So I'm like, all right, fuck this. I go outside in my car and do the biggest, smokiest burnout you could imagine right there in the parking lot of the police station and drove off. And I can't believe they didn't come outside and stop me from leaving. So there you go. Another thing that's curious to me that we never got in trouble for is that my friend's house was right next to a rock quarry, and we used to shoot guns outside of his house all the time. And we used to fire a 22 every once in a while, every certain amount of time, into the quarry, and we would hear it ricochet off of everything, and then we would hear, "Hey!" And it wasn't until years later I realized we were firing bullets at human beings who were just trying to do their job. And once again, miracle that no cops ever came to get us. All right, so for a short time of my life, I was quite the gas station bandit. I I don't know how you could classify it, but I pretty much robbed gas stations. I never took money, I never demanded money, but what I would do is walk in and grab back in those days you could have a display of cigarettes on the counter. It wasn't like all crazy how it is now. And I would walk in and grab a whole display of cigarettes. And back then they're like $2 a piece. There's maybe 50 packs, so $100 or whatever, and the rack. I would just walk in and just take it, and they'd be like, "Hey," and I wouldn't even say shit. I would just walk out. And I did that with cigarettes all the time, all over the area I was in. I did that with a rack of lighters that one of my actual friends called the cops on me about. I mean, to be fair, he was worried he was going to get fired. Actually, I knew one night there was an APB out for me because they're pretty pissed about it. But nothing. Just skated scot free. All right, I'm recording this at the end, but I'm going to put it somewhere else in the video. So, welcome to the past, future me. General assholiness that could have ended up with me getting shot or killed or whatever. Let's see, there was one time where me and my friends decided it would be a great idea to go out to this guy's property in the woods, pretty deep in the woods, and to steal this really cool sign he had on the side of the building, which I don't even remember what the sign was, but we wanted this sign. And we drove up there and I opened the door and snuck out, and the sign was right next to a roll up door. And as soon as I put my fingers on the side of this building, the dude throws up the roll up door, and my ass runs like a motherfucker and jumps in the truck, and off we go. I hit my head, the side of my head, and my ear really hard off the side of the truck, but that's not really the point, is it? Like, that guy could have shot me in the face messing around on his property in bumfuck Egypt. I'm gonna tell this story because you seem amused by it. Other stuff I used to do is I used to drive really slowly all through town. Used to call it granny tripping. There was a section in Carnegie and in part of Heidelberg where it was one lane for a really long time. And the reason it was hilarious is because everybody would be honking and getting pissed off. But after a few miles, it boom, another lane opened up, and everyone would fly by you, flip you off, and call you a fucking asshole. And I would just laugh like hell. And there's another time where someone really could have just done whatever. I have road rage. There's been times where I've gone ape shit while driving, only to look at the guy that I was screaming at and realize, like, oh fuck, nah. One time, we were sitting in the parking lot outside of a mall. I want to say New Park Mall. I don't know. A guy came and parked his pickup truck like a millimeter away from the side of our car. So I jumped out real fast, and this dude jumped out hella fast, and I realized, like, fuck, I'm gonna have to fight this fucker over a parking spot. And I'm like, nah, I don't think that's a good idea. But the way I reacted so quickly, like, he definitely could have shot my ass. So, yeah, just general assholery could have got me shot a long time ago. Nothing. Another time in high school, my friends and I decided that we were going to fight the football team from South Fayette High School, which we called South Faggot, but that's 90s talk, so forgive me for that. And we show up over there. We have two pickup trucks with, I think, 5 guys. Their entire football team shows up with weapons, tire irons and bats and all kinds of shit. And we realized very quickly, oh fuck, we got to get out of here. So we hop in and we burn ass out of there. Man, we really deserved to get our asses handed to us that time. But again, nothing. Area of my life that it's a miracle I never got dinged on, either seriously arrested or hurt, is work. I spent a little more than a decade working as a professional mechanic. And all through that time, I smashed, I destroyed, I crashed, I caused the companies I worked for thousands of dollars of damage that they had to pay for. I was lazy. I would sit in the bathroom for an hour reading a magazine. I would go on the Snap on truck for a long time. I don't know what the hell was wrong with my young ass, but I was a terrible, terrible employee. Let's see. As a forklift mechanic, we had a lift for forklifts, which is pretty strange, but you had to set it up carefully of the ramps so that you could back onto it. And I didn't. I for some reason decided I don't need to adjust the ramps, and I backed up, and the forklift fell off the ramp and it pitched to the side. And when I looked up, when everything stopped moving, my head had about a half an inch between it and the overhead guard of the forklift and the post of the lift. And if my head was a little bigger, or if I would have been going a little faster, I would have certainly died. But not a scratch. And even though they said they were going to drug test me because of how stupid that was, they didn't, and I didn't get fired. So there you go. Since I met my wife in 2001, the only thing I ever wanted to do is hang out with her, and I would be sick, have the Heister flu, whatever it took to spend more time at home. So one time I had my wife call and tell my boss that I had the shits real bad and I couldn't come to work. And he said, we have toilet paper here, and and I would malinger injuries, all kinds of things. Never fired. I was laid off though, but that's a different story. The entire economy crashed, so you can't really blame that on me. All right, so this is a good story. I don't know if it's good, but it is what it is. When when I bought my Dyna, brand new off the showroom floor from Harley Davidson of Fremont, I did not really know how to ride a motorcycle. So I had them deliver it to our home, to our parking spot under our apartment building. And I started to go to the rider safety training course. And I'm not going to go into why I didn't finish it. It's an embarrassing reason. But let's just say that I did not know how to ride, and I had a brand new Harley Davidson that I needed to figure out. And I started slowly. I would putt around the building and then park. And then I would putt around the building again and then I would park. And one day, a weekend or so, I figured I got this licked, man. So I throw on my helmet and my very ill fitting Harley Davidson leather jacket that I never actually wore while riding, other than that one time. And I don't know if people watching this are going to know, but I took my bike from Stevenson. I went down, I rode through Niles Canyon, and it's a miracle I made it because I literally didn't know how to turn on a motorcycle. I didn't know you had to lean or counter steer or anything. And I went through Niles Canyon and then I hopped on 680 and fucking did 100 miles an hour down the big hill. And I don't know how the hell I survived this, but I tell you what, after that I got better at riding and started riding everywhere. So I don't know if I've been lucky in is riding motorcycles. I have two Harley Davidson. I wouldn't say that I ride a lot compared to guys that ride a lot, but I put some miles on each year. I've never had a serious crash where I got hurt. I have been down twice on my Dyna and rear-ended on my Dyna. Walked away without a scratch all three times. The time was when I was a student at UCSC. I was coming down the hill. I stopped behind a bus in traffic because it's a narrow road and I couldn't go around. And the next thing you know, I woke up on the ground. So maybe I was rear-ended twice. I literally have no idea what happened there. But I walked away with a little road rash on my knee. But other than that, completely fine. Second time, I was splitting lanes on Highway 1. I was cooking along pretty good because I was a prospect at the time and I was supposed to meet the guys to go on a run. I was going up the middle and this asshole in the Subaru comes over and just does the swoop and squat right in between the lanes. And I locked up the brakes and ate shit. Uh, Bike's all fucked up, and a lot of guys who ride would say it's your fault. I agree. At this point, I agree it was my fault. I should have had a better plan or whatever, but I didn't, and so I crashed and I was fine. Another time, I want to say I was going to the same run in Prunedale, and if you're in the club in this area, you damn well know where I was going to in Prunedale. And I was at Los Lomas. The light changed to red. I hit my brakes to slow down to line up to go in front of the cars, and this lady came screeching over the hill, bam, runs into me and shoots the bike out from under me, and I kind of barrel roll a little bit, and I stand up, not a scratch. If that car had been a hair higher, it would have literally hit my back. But the fender took the brunt of it. I was completely fine. So that's just another example of how lucky I've been in my life. Another area of life that I've been really lucky in is love or getting my wife. And as you can tell from all the stories I've been telling, I was pretty much a huge fucking dud as a young man. The lucky thing for me is I had lost a bunch of weight and I was in really great shape when I met her. Because if I would have showed up as the fat schlub that I was before that, there's not a chance that this college girl would have hooked up with an idiot like me. Fact of the matter was, I showed up wearing clean clothes and a decent shirt, wasn't wearing my ugly Jeffrey Dahmer glasses, and everything else worked out. We've been married for 24 years, real soon. So here's how I'm lucky for this. I had no game whatsoever. I had a history of going places with the intention of talking to girls and never talked to any of them. I would. One time I went for a run around Lake Chabot and I was sitting there and a very good looking girl came and sat right next to me and I just ignored her completely. Didn't even turn my head to look at her. Another time I would go to the pool at the gym and sit there. I must have looked like the ultimate creepo because I would look at girls and then not say shit. So no wonder that never worked out. The other thing I used to, my ploy for trying to talk to girls was to go to the bookstore at night, and they had this little area, the coffee shop where they would have a little 3-piece band. You know, the quiet drum and the stand up bass, the and or whatever, like smooth jazz. And I thought, oh man, I'm gonna catch some chicks over there for sure. And you know what I did? Sat there and read Hot Rod magazine and never even made eye contact with the person of the opposite sex. I just thought of another one, so I'm gonna tell it. And this one's even more embarrassing, so hold on to your popcorn, people. For a while, I would rent video, I would rent videos from this video store in Hayward when I lived in Hayward, and they had an adult section. And every once in a while, as a young guy, without the internet, by the way, because it was the year 2000, so I didn't have. Anyway, I would rent adult movies, and then I thought, well, you know what, man, those girls that work there are kind of cute. Like I should talk to them. And I'm like, now looking back, yeah, right. They're gonna go out with the young guy who rents fucking porn. Idiot. Anyway, so I'm lucky to have my wife. She's been with me through every single thing, from me being a terrible employee, hardly feeding our family, getting laid off, uh, going back to school, earning 2 degrees, being a stay-at-home dad, volunteer, joining a motorcycle club, prospecting for a year, being a club member for 10 years, almost 4 years of that being the president. So let's say I'm the luckiest guy in the world. All right, so I'm 47, and no matter how hard I've tried to destroy my body or get myself thrown in prison, nothing is stuck. I've skated scot free. I've never broken a bone other than a cracked finger. Well, alright, I cracked my skull, but fell off a skateboard at high speed. It is what it is. Wear a helmet, kids. Um, and I've had speeding tickets and stuff, but other than that, I've never gotten arrested ever. And I count myself lucky. I don't know what to attribute this to, but I've had several people tell me things. My old boss Morris used to tell me, "You must live right," when I would make a mess out of a job or whatever. My grandma told me, I think she was basically saying I'm an idiot, but she used to tell me I have a guardian angel on my shoulder. My homie Chuko told me it's God. Now I'm not a religious guy, and I don't know what to attribute it to, but the universe or being a good dude, karma, I don't know what, but I managed to, so far, I've managed to sneak through without a scratch on me. So, as I said, I'm the luckiest guy in the world. Doing these interviews is causing me to think about, reflect on my life, and lately I've been studying the Stoics and stuff, and some of the things that Chevelle said really rang through to me. So that's what made me think of the topic of this video. And one of the things he said was it's really easy and anyone could end up behind bars with a life sentence. And especially when I look back on all of the idiotic stuff that I've done, I really feel grateful for all the things I have in my life. And I try to practice gratitude every day because I don't know. I don't know what the whole point of this shit is, this video, and maybe no one will watch it because I have awesome prison stories coming up. But I just wanna put out my gratitude out in on a video onto the internet, and I hope some people watch it and think, you know what, man, I should feel lucky and should have gratitude for the things that I have in life because maybe I don't have everything, but I have a lot, and I feel really lucky for that. Hug your family members. Have gratitude for the things that you have in your life because it could all end tomorrow.